Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Commander Jocelyn Blowfield. We warmly welcome Air Commodore Peter McDermott, National Vice President, Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Please be seated if you can do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Squadron leader Benjamin Southam Ambrose. Benjamin Ambrose was born on the 26th of October 1915 in Launceston, Tasmania, to Arthur and Margaret Ambrose. Growing up, he had two brothers, Robert and Aubrey, and a sister, Gwendolyn. In 1928, Benjamin won a scholarship to the Launceston Junior Technical School and continued into the senior school. Throughout his school years, he won prizes in machining and fitting, and after his schooling, he found work as a mechanic. In 1936, Ambrose was accepted into a cadetship with the Department of Defence's Point Cook Flying School. From here, he enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 26th of August, aged 20. The following year, he was sent to Britain for a short-term commission with the Royal Air Force. It was in February this year that his father died. When the Second World War began, Ambrose continued to serve with the RAF Volunteer Reserve. In September 1940, he married British woman Kathleen Rahill, and the couple had a baby girl, Brenda. At some point, he was posted to No. 467 Squadron RAAF, which served in conjunction with the RAF. As part of Bomber Command, the squadron flew the four-engined Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. On the night of the 11th of June 1943, the RAF launched a major bombing raid on Dusseldorf in Germany. Ambrose was the second pilot aboard Lancaster POZ, taking off at 10 p.m. While the bombing was considered a victory, it was not without losses. No. 467 Squadron had committed 17 aircraft to the raid and lost 2 to enemy action. One of these was Squadron leader Ambrose's. Nothing more was heard from the crew of Lancaster POZ after it failed to return to base. It was determined that the aircraft had been brought down by enemy action and there were no survivors. Also on board were fellow Australians Flying Officer Leonard Peach and Sergeant James Donohoe, along with British Airmen Squadron Leader Donald Mackenzie, Sergeants James McCluskey and Arthur Moore, Pilot Officer Dennis Bovis, and Flight Lieutenant Leslie Betts. After the war, the remains of Commonwealth servicemen buried in Europe were examined and identified where possible. Research determined that Ambrose's aircraft had crashed near the railway station at Rosenthal. His body had been buried by the Germans at the Rheinberg War Cemetery, 36 kilometres northwest of Dusseldorf. He was reinterred there under the inscription, "In loving memory of a devoted husband and father." Benjamin Ambrose's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Squadron leader Benjamin Southam Ambrose, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.